तो कटिंग चॉपिंग पहले चिकन का कर लेता हूँ. मैं नाइफ निकाल लेता हूँ. I forgot. Yeah, but I'm going to chop it with my hands. I didn't realize कि मैंने चॉपर क्यों बोला. मैं कितना अदरक काटना है, मैं कौन सा 1 किलो अदरक काटना है. আমি গাড়িতে বসে ভাবছি আমি চপারটা বললাম কেন চাই যে
ও আই থট পেঁয়াজের জন্য বলেছো.
What বাবরচি কাট পেঁয়াজ এর চপার.
এই turn on. Hey, do it here.
Don't do वहाँ, do यहाँ, झाड़ी के पीछे.
Our guest today is Rahul Arora. Rahul is a chef in training and in spirit and one of the most fun and entertaining people you will come across. He has worked in kitchens such as the ITC Pan Asian and Moria before coming home to Calcutta to start his own cafes. He ran the Bon Appetit cafes which had branches in Hazra and Salt Lake successfully for 13 years. He now bakes and cooks small batches of curated menus on weekends. In this episode, Rahul talks about his childhood and growing up in a Punjabi household in Kolkata. Rahul is himself not at all an orthodox cook. In his curated Punjabi menu especially, he demonstrates how food can be rooted in tradition and family history and still have room for personal, modern and practical touches. We especially love the meal that he offers around the end of winter every year in memory of his father with some of his father's favorite dishes. Every single detail, every dish, every condiment is put together with such care and the sharbats are particularly exquisite. Namaskar Bundugon, you are watching Rannaghore Ke, a fun adda with old and new friends about food, life and everything else. This is episode 8 with Rahul Arora.
The ones, those people who sharpen the knives, I don't know what they're called. की बोले उधर के?
Knife sharpeners.
चाकू छुरियाँ तेज करा लो. First things first, this is the chopping board.
हाँ, this is the chopping board.
Give me 2 minutes ना, एक तो चूल्टा फूटे जाए.
He has a process. তুই head advice টা রাহুলকে দিস না, আমি সেটাই বলার চেষ্টা করছি.
পেঁয়াজটা নিয়ে আসি. আহা, those long drumsticks look so nice.
I asked him not to cut the drumsticks.
So you should never. Country chicken সব সময় যদি ওরা এখান দিয়ে কেটে দেয়. Country chicken, the only way to know it is absolutely flawlessly cooked is যখন এটা ছাড় দেবে.
This is Rahul, formerly of Bon Appetit fame or currently of Bon Appetit fame. Many of you may remember Salt Lake and Hazra cafes called Bon Appetit. So that was Rahul.
The nicest part is most people think that Bon Appetit is my cooking. Bon Appetit was never my cooking. It was designed to be cooked by people who know nothing about cooking.
Yes, the menu of Bon Appetit was
what is a people pleaser? People pleaser, easy to cook, zero maintenance.
So it was more like sandwiches, pastas, pastries, sundaes. We'll talk about your pivot from Bon Appetit a bit later. You're going to cook today.
So I'm cooking. So chicken curries is something which I feel that, you know, if you want to understand a state's cuisine, you start with something simple. A basic chicken curry defines the ethos of a cuisine.
In your case, Punjabi cuisine.
In my case, Punjabi cuisine. I'm sure you guys have eaten various different curries. Biharis have a different curry. And so we're using a desi murga here because, well, desi meat has the best flavors. It takes a little longer to cook. But you know, when you eat this curry with your hands, your nails should smell a day later also. That's the thing about a good desi murga curry. The hero of this dish is black pepper.
So whole black pepper?
Whole and crushed.
Oh, nice.
And people usually associate black pepper with South Indian food, but no, it's very important in Punjabi food also. There's no butter or cream being used in this. A combination of ghee and mustard oil. Again, mustard oil which is associated mostly to Bengali food. You'll be surprised to know how much of it is used in Punjabi food.
Yeah, sarso is very Punjabi ingredient, right?
DDLJ.
So yeah. So apart from the chicken, you're also making a pumpkin, and then with that,
we are taking pumpkin or the kaddu and we are converting that into a khatti-meethi sabzi. And then that sabzi is being converted into a raita. And that same sabzi is being converted into a pulao as well.
And the sabzi can be had on its own also.
It's
right?
lovely with parathas and puris.
Nice.
So Punjab mein we also have this culture of eating leftover sabzis with matthis next morning. So my grandmom and my great grandmom. So our matthis don't have salt in them. They're fiki matthis. They're this big. And you just crush that mathi, pour bomb chole on top of it, squeeze some lemon. Oh, comfort food. On the side first, let's do the
more fidgety bits. Rahul, your family is Punjabi, so your father moved to Kolkata or your
My grandparents moved to Kolkata. We are actually Lahoris, you know, to be honest. So nothing was left during 1947. My parents are all born here. My mother studied Bangla. I have studied Bangla. আমাদের সবারই বাংলাটা খুবই fluent. Since my ma was a রবীন্দ্রসঙ্গীত singer, so বাড়ির পরিবেশটা খুব বাঙালি ছিল. Although I come from a vegetarian family, ironical because I eat meat every day. My mum has recently just started eating eggs. Earlier she wasn't even eating eggs.
To give everybody a background, since the lockdown, you have stopped the Bon Appetit cafe. You bound it up?
Bon Appetit largely depended on schools, colleges, kids. When they were not there for 2 years, it was very difficult to sustain, not survive on online orders because just not worth it. It's no margins only. When you're giving almost 25% of your commissions, of your sales to Swiggy as commissions.
And obviously because of the lockdown, dependence on Swiggy had to have increased.
Pre-lockdown also. They were always arm twisting. So, इसलिए बंद तो करना ही पड़ा. I think this much change should be enough.
Since the pandemic, after the cafe shut, you have kind of pivoted to cooking.
I moved to cooking again because I went into a sort of a depression because when you see 13 years of your hard work fall like a house of cards, you have no idea. But what got me on was a friend called like, listen, I don't think I can go to restaurants. Can you make me some butter chicken? I'm not eating a good butter chicken. I'm looking for a Moti Mahal style Delhi butter chicken. I'm like, okay. Then I made a butter chicken and then I decided कि चलो साथ एक video भी shoot कर देते हैं. So I made the butter chicken का tutorial. So I put that up and people were like, you made butter chicken? We want butter chicken. So that was the first weekend menu where I just made butter chicken and that went on for say 3 weeks.
The 2 meals that we've ordered of yours were, one was the end of winter Punjabi menu and the one that you did
that has a long story. Punjabi menus came up as a challenge because somebody challenged mummy and me कि तुम पंजाबियों को क्या बनाना आता है वेज में, तुम तो बस दाल और पनीर खाने वाले लोगों, दाल मखनी पनीर बटर मसाला. And I'm like, you have no idea.
When you consider restaurant Indian food, the default is North Indian, what people perceive to be Punjabi food. Is that where the perception
Not just that. Also, I think so many people claiming and saying stuff on social media कि ये ही authentic है does not make it authentic. When you travel through Punjab, something as basic as a dal, evolves from kilometer to kilometer. That's the beautiful thing about this country, that there is nothing called a fixed authentic recipe. It just goes on changing, evolving as the vegetation changes, the climate changes. So in a place like Punjab, when you are in Pathankot, the food will be different. When you are in Amritsar, the food will be different. Because my mother's side, my nani is Amritsari and we are Lahoris. So I have
do you have family in present day Punjab?
No, none. Because everybody was in Lahore and I don't think anything survived. Although I really do wish to go to Pakistan someday. We weren't really given exposure to meat cooking at home. When I was in Delhi, my landlady was also Lahori. And I learned a lot of stuff from her too. On my off day, we would cook together. And she was like in her 50s and we became friends. Because I would make कड़ी चावल on my off days, and she'd like, यार मेरा कड़ी बनाने का मन नहीं कर रहा, तू ही दे दे थोड़ी सी. Like that, she taught me stuff like the Lahori meat वाले rajmas, Oh, if you like the normal rajma, you have to eat it with mutton in it. It
I can imagine.
Gorgeous.
Pumpkin में there's no onions, there's all onions.
Little. No, little onions. If you want, I can. If you don't, you can skip also.
No, whatever you want.
Let me just finish chopping. So I'm quintessentially a Hazra boy, I mean, I've grown up in South Kolkata, played in the gullies, and so when I was in class, when I was 6 years old, 7 years old, my parents decided to move to Salt Lake. So there were no children.
No children in all of Salt Lake.
Then when I was very young, my mother had a nervous breakdown. She was unwell. So there was no one to cook food. I always had a knack towards eating. Cooking was also a thing. I've always loved cooking.
So what would you cook when your mother was ill?
I started off with sandwiches and stuff, basically. And then my nani ke saath I started cooking a little bit. Mum ke saath I started helping. My mother was born into a Punjabi family, married off at the age of 17 to a man who wouldn't even lift a glass of water. That's what she didn't want her sons to be. So one thing she's like, I want my sons to be able to cook themselves a meal. So she would insist, even as kids. So in Punjabi households, if you are born a son, you are entitled.
I guess that's
So-
not unique to Punjabi families.
Ma didn't let us interact too much with our other cousins who were entitled. She'd be like, पानी की बोतल तो भरनी पड़ेगी. Dusting तो करनी पड़ेगी. Since I was born to a family of decent cooks, mummy was a fabulous cook. My grandmother baked really well. My nani made amazing pickles, chutneys, besan ka laddus and everything. So I come from a time where it was said that बाहर के केचप में कद्दू होता है तो केचप घर पे बनेगी. So winter meant the whole family is getting together on the terrace, washing tomatoes, removing the eye of the tomato, boiling. They all used to get these sodium benzoate and all that. So I have grown up seeing ketchup being made at home, seeing potato chips being made at home. So they would make those refriable potato chips, you know. So mummy would blanch them and she'd be like, oh, प्लास्टिक का शीट छत पे बिछाया चलो बच्चे एक 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 करके डालो. Us 80s kids have seen a generation thankfully taught us a lot more about food than today's kids will ever learn because आजकल nobody has time.
I think it was unique even then, I'm sure, because
My family probably was the first family to get a freezer in the house. We needed a chest freezer because we were freezing everything. So when I started doing my weekend kitchens, I didn't need to buy any utensils because I had my bhatti. I had my big patilas, I had my big paltas, I had big bowls. My ghar ka kitchen by itself has like 14 kadais.
so it's pretty industrial. Even the end of winter thing menu that you did was like in memory of your father, right? So
Yes. Again, as I said, we Punjabis, we love to eat. Seasonal eating is a very big important thing for the Lahoris. So every season, as the market changes, my father would go pick up. Sarson ka saag aa gaya. So Papa would bring 4 kgs of sarson ka saag. In my family's recipe, the saag cannot be pureed. It has to be plucked. Then the stems will be removed. We peel the stems and we get the pith, which is called gandala in Punjabi. That adds characteristic sweetness to the saag. Then wash thoroughly 3-4 times till there's no mitti in it. Then we cook it on a heavy bottom pan. We have a 20 kilo pressure cooker. 20 liter pressure cooker. What she would do, it's heavy na, the pressure cooker. She would fill it up, it would be like a mountain. Then she would put a bowl of boiling water on top of the pressure cooker. So the saag would sink. Saag would sink and become half. Then she would add more saag into it because 4 kilo saag kam nahi hota hai. And then it would sink. Leave it on slow flame for 5-6 hours.
nice. So that saag was a part of your
Yeah, it's always there in the winter menu. That's a madhani, we call it. It's like, so you've seen those lassi wala things, you have these wooden things. So ours is like a baton, you know, it's this big, heavy. Kuto the saag. So garlic is done, onion is done. So let's start chopping the tomatoes. Tomatoes ka pehle tomato and lemon tend to make your knife go blunt. It's always better to run it once. So nice it is. Fast हो जाएगा. I can't live without my sharpening stone.
We don't take care of our knives a lot. We find a knife sometimes not performing as well.
Give it bhalobasa. Give it care. Never leave it wet. Always once it's washed, wipe it and clean it. Some people I know, after they cook, they sharpen it again. And then they apply a little bit. My boss used to do this. वो ना ऐसे sharpen करके इसके edge में थोड़ा oil she would put.
Oil.
And that prevents the knife from
Rusting. Even for home cooks, I think even if you're not sharpening your knives, I think the best thing you can do is to just wash your knife with water after every
water
thing
and dry it up. Don't leave it.
Don't leave it in the sink
Yeah.
to wash later with the rest of the dishes.
I think now I could have a little bit of a coffee if you don't mind.
Coffee,
Can we
yeah,
keep a coffee
absolutely.
bowl pass me?
Let's. Are you making coffee? I saw your dub smash. Will you do a live dub smash for us?
Sure.
Not right now. Not right now. Wait.
This one, I think my expressions look very nice. It's not posted as yet. It's in my drafts. एक खाने बस. When you work with Thai chefs, na, you love mortars. And yeah, I think that's enough. This is going to give that necessary bite also,
yeah.
and gets potency as well. शुरू करा जाए. The oil is smoking nicely, and we add a nice heaped chammach of ghee into this. See, fat is what's going to নালে মুরগির যে গন্ধটা আছে না খেতে পারবে। Now see, the mustard oil has started turning kala. That's what we want. We're adding our pepper, good amount of hing. Huh? You have to let it pop, only then the flavor will release. Some green chili, garlic. If you wanted extra jhal, you can make chili ka paste also and put also in this. You see that ghee ka smell is gone. The hing, ginger, garlic, it masks all the flavors. Now it has its own sweet little fragrance. Love it. One thing that I don't understand is being secretive about a recipe. See, what's the point? Even if you divulge the exact recipe, every single hand, the way half the people won't have the patience to chop the onions fine.
Yeah.
Their gravy will taste different. Some will say, "Chal yaar, paste bana dete hain." That will taste entirely different. Some people will not have the, patience to bhuno it on a slow flame, cover it. They will say, "Chal, सीटी बजा देते हैं." उसका अपना flavor आएगा. So what's the point of hiding? Every human, the hand is what gives it the flavor. My nani would say कि खाना का flavor दो चीज से आता है. एक हाथ से आता है, एक नियत से आता है. With what intention you cook it with.
Yeah.
The minute you have cruel intentions in cooking, I feel, the food tastes bad.
This food poison.
Add poison to taste.
Mentally, I have added poison to a lot of people's food. तभी तो बिची बावर्ची.
Rahul's handle on Instagram is the Bichi Bawarchi.
See, now we are almost there. Check that out. The onions are nice, golden. ये और brown होना है.
अच्छा.
But before that, we are going to add our salt because the masala we are going to cook with the dhania haldi also.
धनिया हल्दी. What else बोलो?
Oh, my mother is going to flip her top if she would see shells inside the masalas. इधर मुझे बताओ.
हाँ मुझे.
Oil becomes red, then we add pepper. That smell. Dhania is a very important spice. Huh? A good amount of pepper. You'll save a little for the pumpkin. Huh? If you like a little bit, you can add a little sugar at this stage as well. Otherwise, some people don't like that hint of sweetness.
Yeah, so but cook it as you would cook it. So.
I would add a little sugar.
Yeah. There's sugar वहाँ पे.
See, now the color, you see the color, the brownness that we want. See, the pyaz is all crunchy and all. Now, to stop the mirchis and stuff from getting too overcooked, that's when we add the moisture.
Kabutar in the wind.
I have nightmares of kabutars. तेल निकलना शुरू तो हो गया है. इतने chicken.
Chicken का.
So see, the masala is nice and chunky. This particular masala by itself, you add eggs into it, makes amazing anda bhurji. You can add boiled dal into it, make dal out of it. You can add paneer into this, make paneer. Shredded pre-boiled chicken and make a nice bhurji out of it also. This is a very versatile masala.
So what you're cooking, this is home style or restaurant?
This is home, very home style. Restaurant में patience किसके पास है इतना भूनने का? A good dhaba perhaps.
Yeah.
I love the offals. Especially
the drumstick is spanning the entire length of the even the wings are large.
Yeah, oh lovely. দেখো the chicken curry খাবো হাড়গুলো বড় বড় না হবে চিবাবো না. So when you are going to Punjab na, so there are these fried chicken walas where each thigh leg piece is इतना बड़ा बड़ा and they hang it on these boards with প্রেকের মধ্যে লাগানো থাকে. You can choose which piece you want. Now just let's sear the meat in this masala. You look at that, we don't need anything in this. Everyone who goes crazy about that stupid app where you talk. What is that app? I forgot the name. Where you talk, podcast app. Purna jide bhuter golpo bole.
Oh, acha. बुझला.
अरे
Clubhouse. So much bitching happening over there. Nobody lets you talk.
Is Clubhouse selective? It seems like it was a very short-lived fad. And the thing about Clubhouse was it was never about community. It was always about I have something to say. I'm going to open up a session.
People were nasty there.
And
I mean, so rude. Matlab, I can speak better English, so I will talk. So you shut up. I was there for 15 minutes, and I'm like, why is this guy shooing the other people? You raise your hand and ask like, Madam, may I talk? Type. What nonsense.
These are the most attractive drumsticks I've seen in my whole life.
My hair will get singed. আমরা যখন তন্দুরে ট্রেনিং করতাম, so tandoor chefs have no hair on their hands. Yeah, so when you put roti, you can see it burn. You stand this side. You take care of the chicken.
Rahul, আমাকে একটা কাজ দিচ্ছে।
See, we are cutting it into thick slices, then we'll cut it into juliennes and batons, and then we'll cut it into cubes. We have to have them all evenly cut because we're cooking it in the open.
হ্যাঁ, so তোমার হোটেল ম্যানেজমেন্টের কারিকুলামটা নিয়ে বলো।
So it was a 3-year diploma with culinary arts and kitchen administration. সাথে parallelly BBA করলাম because graduation ছিল না। তো ওটা করতে করতে I got selected for ITC hotels.
তো কি ধরনের জিনিস ওখানে শেখাতো তোমাকে? মানে
Standard first 2 years is standard hotel management procedures যেমন হয়. You have to train in everything, housekeeping, front office, service, everything. And then third year, our curriculum in third year would change to one module on Indian, one module on Asian, bakery এর একটা module, continental এর একটা module, and guard manger এর একটা module.
so with a focus on say 5-star kitchens or
5-star kitchens. Batch would be allotted into different modules, and then they would see which you are good at. Then send you 3 months in each of those departments. My specialization in college was guard manger and bakery. I always wanted to be a baker. I love baking. Then when I got my job, ITC is like, bakery to ladkiyan hi karti hai. Then they said, listen, why don't you give yourself a chance with Asian food? I'm like, arey yaar, Asian kitchens are so hot. Then I was thrown into Pan Asian, and what made me fall in love with Asian food was because my kitchen was live. It was an open kitchen. I could interact with people, talk, cook, and I was given teppanyaki. Then I was sent to the Thai embassy to train in some Thai food. Then I went to Singapore for training, and that's where it all began. And when my father was diagnosed with cancer, I came back to Kolkata, and then Bon Appetit happened. That time I was making staff cook. I was signing bills, posing for the media. But what I'm doing now is more wholesome.
so how do you go about deciding what you want the next menu to be, and then what is
There's
your
no particular order. So every Sunday, I do something which is like a weekend lunch menu. That is fixed. Something new every Sunday. I don't like repeating menus unless otherwise something which has a lot of requests, like houseway, I repeat. Butter chicken, I repeat.
and it's limited orders?
Limit 10. I don't go beyond 10-12 plates. One plate usually serves 2 medium eaters.
Yeah, we can attest that. more than 2 medium eaters. Because when we order 2 thalis, we eat it for 3 days, the 2 of us.
Plus, all through the week, I do curated meals for customized groups, small groups. I do cakes all through the week. But Sunday lunch is like my celebration. See, if you want, you can even add kalonji to this. That also tastes pretty nice. I personally think this is one of my most favorite temperings, sabut dhania, because when you bite it, na, वो अलग ही एक texture देता है. Teajpata, shukna lanka. Again, tempering your choice. You can always think. किसी को धनिया नहीं पसंद है, किसी को सौंफ नहीं पसंद. Favorite green chilies. मैं सभी दे दीजिए. Garlic का, अपना we'll just save it for the raita का तड़का. इसमें ब्राउन नहीं करना है हमें कुछ भी. Everything is sauté, cook in the open, no dum, no covered. I'm loving how the heat of the pan is staying because it's cast iron. आजकल का टाइम we are so used to cooking with good conductors of heat that cast iron का ना एक जो मज़ा होता है ना we forgotten. इनसे तुम्हें pumpkin একটু ঢেলে দাও না এর মধ্যে. And good. This is khatti-meethi. Stir it up nicely. एक बार अच्छे से mix कर लेते हैं so everything mixes well. And then we reduce the flame and let it cook. We take one piece of that kumru out. Okay? Huh? And perfectly cooked. Touch it, you'll know. Smash one, you'll know. Take one out. Smash it, you'll know. It's perfectly cooked, but still has its sharp edges.
Oh yeah.
Yeah? And
Oh, very nice.
it's not nice as yet. We need to add our amchur. Amchur will go. goes into this. This with garam luchis. And come, Taptashi, have a look.
It's come off the bone.
This means your meat is. See the color, how the redness, the rogan has come out. So see, we have not added even a little bit of water.
Right.
So if you like this consistency, you can keep it like this. Otherwise, add a little water. इसमें आप चाहो थोड़ा सा lemon juice at the end because the pepper might hit your throat otherwise. नींबू डाल के भी switch off. Otherwise, the नींबू will go bitter. And they're done. मैं तो कॉफी किए करूँगा था.
Before we turned on the cameras, you were talking about how since Pride Month is going on, a lot of restaurants are creating these.
Propaganda. You want to respect the LGBTQI community. You respect them as a community and not to do it just for getting attention. I understand people are wanting to show acceptance, but that's not what Pride is about. Ask people from the time of the 90s, those who have been harassed by cops, those whose families have disowned them. Pride is about supporting those people, not about creating a rainbow Pride event. That also at the end of June just because 5 other restaurants did it. See, food festivals, be it Pride-based festivals, be it mango-based festivals, do not sell.
They're gimmicks, right?
They're gimmicks for publicity. You do it, I've done it. You want to be inclusive, you've got to be inclusive from the core, not from a marketing point of view.
Yeah, so towards your staff, towards your customers. like,
Absolutely.
inclusive.
How many restaurants would hire a transgender person? None of us want to work with stigma. We want publicity out of it, but not want to work with it. To be inclusive in any form, it has to be in your memorandum, not in your social media. I only one event in a year. I understand. आज के पहले वो भी नहीं करते थे.
Yeah,
But
we started from a very low bar, so that is no excuse.
that is no
2022,
excuse. But people
yeah.
don't understand that they are actually being used for capital gains by marketing agencies.
So you think this pushback comes from customers or investors who?
Customers don't care. You are going to a restaurant not to see who's serving you food, who's cooking your food. You're going to a restaurant because the food is nice. I'm glad that a lot of young people now are evolving. They have much lesser, they fall less for these gimmicks. And you see them calling out people who do these gimmicks. Stop it. This is not what it is about. But we still have a long way to go. The sabzi that আমরা নিয়েছিলাম has been retested. But it's important that this should come down to room temperature. Let's start heating a little small pan for the tadka. And let's whisk this dahi up. Okay, what I'm doing right now has nothing to do with authentic food, but I always add a little bit of mayo to my. So I just do this because it just adds a richness to the dahi.
And also, I think it will prevent the water from separating.
That's the binding. If you are delivering it, and again my tadka I'm giving in mustard oil, garlic, some fresh curry pattas, and some hing. I'm not over browning the garlic. If you want to brown it, you can brown it, but I'm just keeping it till it just about sauteed. And I've marrowed the tadka. And a little bit of salt. There we go. The raita. Chawal ka kar lete. So etar jonne amra roshun ta kintu chop korchi na. Just into slices for the rice. Because আমাদের pumpkin আর raita আর ওটাতে নালে flavor profile same হয়ে যাবে না. So well, oil is smoking. My maheen rai that I have added to it, it is popping nicely, and then this sliced garlic. वही 1 चम्मच करीब, एक हाथा.
This is basmati rice cooked the previous night and chilled in the fridge.
A little bit of salt and a good amount of pepper. You have a nice pumpkin wale chawal. You see why I left the pumpkin whole, so that it does not become a mush in the rice. Rice is done, sabzis are done, raita is done, and the curry is also done. Voila. And the fun part is that all three will taste distinctly different from each other, although the same base has been used. আমার কিন্তু honestly খিদেই পাচ্ছে এতে I love jackfruit chips.
This Krishna shop got for us from Kerala.
You got a sweet version of it also.
This is actually ripe jackfruit.
I know. But you get a sweet version of it. Like they have a sweet banana chips also. It's called Shaka variety. It's very crunchy and nice, and it's made with jaggery. My favorite. I mean, Bangalore gele grocery shop hit kori. I buy kodobule.